We all have that voice, the one that whispers doubt when we try to take on something new, the one that magnifies our mistake and convinces us we are not good enough. For some, it's a passing thought, for others, it's a constant companion that clouds every decision, every goal, and every dream. This is the story of Emma's journey to reclaim her confidence, to transform the voice of self doubt into a voice of self belief, and to realize that the only thing standing in her way was the way she spoke to herself. It's the story of struggle, growth, humor, and ultimately empowerment. Because the truth is, we all have that inner critic, but we also have the power to choose which voice we listen to, and sometimes all it takes is change in the perspective to transform our life. Welcome to the audiobook The Voice Within. Let's begin with the story. Emma sat hunched over a desk in a small, cluttered office. The low hum of the fluorescent lights above her provided a rhythmic background to her racing thought. A stack of files sat before her, each one waiting to be dealt with, but Emma could not bring herself to start. Every time she looked at the work in front of her, the same voice whispered in the back of her mind. "You are not good enough for this. Why even try?" She sighed, pushing the file aside. The truth was, this wasn't the first time she faced this kind of obstacle. Every day there was a new challenge, a new project, a new meeting, and with each one the doubt crept in. It wasn't just a passing thought, it was a relentless, ever present companion that she could not seem to shake, her inner critic. "You can do this, Emma," she muttered, trying to rally herself. "Just focus, get it done." The more she tried to concentrate, the louder the voice became. "You don't belong here. Everyone else is so much better than you. You are going to mess this up just like always." Emma clenched her fist in frustration. How was it she managed to get through the last 5 years of her career only to still feel like an imposter? She had worked hard to get here, but it never felt like enough. Not enough to impress her boss, not enough to feel confidence in her own abilities. The phone rang, jolting her thoughts. She glanced at the screen. It was Tara, her best friend. Emma picked up the phone without hesitation. "Hey," Tara's voice was light and playful. "How's the work going? Did you finish the proposal yet?" Emma sighed deeply. "Oh, not yet. I can't seem to get it right. Every time I try, I end up thinking I'm not cut out for this." Tara laughed, a sound that was both confronting and a little teasing. "Oh, Emma, not this again. You are one of the smartest people I know. You got this?" "But what if I don't?" Emma muttered. Her voice was barely above whisper. "What if I send it in and they just laugh at how bad it was?" "Come on, we both know that's gonna not happen. Look, when was the last time you failed at something? Like really failed?" Emma paused, thinking she could not remember a time when she had truly failed. Sure, there's have been a mistake here and there, the occasionally blotched email or forgotten meeting, but nothing catastrophic. Yet, in her mind, those small mistakes were magnified. Every slip up felt like the end of the world. "I guess not lately," Emma admitted reluctantly. "Exactly. So why are you worrying about something that hasn't even happened?" Tara asked, her tone filled with affection but also a hint of impatience. "You need to cut yourself some slack. You are not perfect. You are never going to be, but that does not mean you are not enough." Emma let her words sink in. She knew Tara was right, but still the voice of self-doubt didn't just vanish with a few kinds of words. "I will try," Emma said quietly. Tara's tone softened. "Good. And remember, I always here if you need to vent. You are not alone in this, okay?" "Okay," Emma replied, managing a small smile. "Thanks, Tara." As she hung up, Emma felt a bit lighter. But as she turned back to the proposal, the voice returned louder than ever. "What if you still mess up? What if they think you are incompetent?" Emma shook her head. frustrated with herself. Why was it so hard to silence that voice? Why couldn't she just believe in herself? The next morning, Emma woke up determined. She had spent the night thinking about Tara's word, replying them over and over in her mind. She had to manage a change. She was tired of feeling like an imposter. She was tired of letting her self-doubt control her. Before heading to work, she sat down with a cup of coffee and opened her laptop. She had seen a post on social media the previous day about power of self-talk and how changing the way we speak to ourselves could have profound impact on our mindset. It was something she would heard about before but never really took seriously. But today something felt different. She began to search for articles and books on the subject. One particular quote caught her attention. You are what you think you are. Be careful what you think. It hit her like a tons of bricks. Her thought, her constant negative self-talk was shaping her reality. She had been telling herself that she was inadequate and she could not handle the pressure. No wonder she felt like a failure before even starting. But what if she could change that? What if she could rewrite her thoughts, reshape her reality? By the time she got to work, Emma had decided to start small. Instead of focusing all the ways she might fail, she would focus on positive. She would speak to herself as she was her own best friend, someone who believed in her potential. As she sat down at her desk, her first test came. The proposal sat on her computer untouched. Emma took a deep breath and placed her hands on keyboard. I am capable of this, she told herself. I have done hard things before and I can do this too. I will take this one step at a time. For a moment, the voice of self-doubt tried to creep in, but Emma didn't let it take hold. Instead, she typed out the first time of proposal. As the day wore on, Emma found herself repeatedly battling her inner critic. Every time she faced a challenge, whether it was answering a difficult question in a meeting or sending an email to client, the voice inside her ready to strike. You are going to mess up. Why are you even trying? But this time Emma was ready. She would take a deep breath and remind herself of her strength and keep going. That afternoon, Emma faced her biggest challenge at her boss, Mr. Lawrence, called her into his office to discuss the proposal. The moment she stepped into his office, the familiar voice in her head screamed, You are going to fail. He is going to ride through you. You are not ready for this. But Emma stood tall, repeating her mantra, I am capable. I can do this. Emma, take a seat, Mr. Lawrence said. His tone was neutral but welcoming. She sat down. Her hands were shaking, but she forced herself to stay calm. So, how do you feel about the proposal? He asked, looking at her with a measured gaze. I think it's solid, Emma said, her voice steady despite the tornado swirling inside her. I have made sure to address all the key points. I am confident that it will meet our objectives. She waited for his response, her heart pounding in her chest. After a long pause, he smiled. Good, I like the direction you're taking. Just a couple of tweaks here and there, but overall it's looked great. Emma blinked, shocked. Was he actually praising her work? He had expected criticism, but this felt good. Thank you, Emma said, her voice barely above whisper. Keep up. Good work, Mr. Lawrence added, stand up and extending his hand. As she shook his hand, Emma felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced in a long time. Maybe she wasn't perfect, maybe she still had a lot to learn, but in the moment she knew she was enough. That evening, Emma sat on her couch, reflecting on the day. She had faced her inner critic head on and come out of the victorious. It wasn't easy. The voice of self-doubt still lingered, but it no longer controlled her. She was learning to drone it out with the affirmation of self-belief. The phone rang again. Emma picked it up without hesitation. Hi, Tara, she said, her voice bright. I just got off the phone with your boss, Tara said teasingly. I heard you nailed the proposal. Emma laughed. I guess I did. Who would have thought? I told you, Tara said. You are amazing. Just remember, you have got this. Emma smiled, feeling a newfound sense of confidence. Thanks, Tara. I really needed to hear that today. As they chatted, Emma realized that the journey was just beginning. She didn't have all the answers yet, but she was learning. Little by little, she was learning to listen to the voice of encouragement inside her, not the one that told her to quit. And for the first time in a long time, Emma believed that she was enough, just as she was. Just remember, the voice inside your head does not have to be your truth. Choose to speak to yourself like you would to be a friend. You are not defined by your mistake, but your ability to rise after them. Remember, success isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about learning to quit the doubts and move forward anyway. Thank you for listening.